Excuse me. Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. We have two Kentucky straight bourbon whiskeys. This is Jim Beam, the world's #1 selling bourbon whiskey. All right. And this was introduced in 1938. I know it says since 1795 on the bottle. Well, it's true that the Beam Company started distilling in 1795. Okay, so that's not a falsehood. But the Jim Beam brand is from 1938. They used to make something called Beam's Old Tub, which they brought back recently. Then they had Beam's. They had something called Beam's 100 Proof Bourbon. No, it was called Beam's Bottled and Bond. Beam's Bonded. That's what it was called. Beam's Bonded. And they had Beam's Choice and all these other things. Beam's Rye, straight rye, which they still make. There's also Beam's 8-Star, which is a blended whiskey. They don't make Choice anymore. And there's all kind of variants you see, but the Prohibition repeal batch came out a few years ago. But the brand known as Jim Beam was named after the guy who owned the company in 1938. He brought back the distillery after Prohibition and everything. So James B. Beam, James nicknamed Jim Beam. Okay. So that's the story on that. Age 4 years. And now owned by Suntory Holdings of Japan. A huge liquor, beer, wine, and drink and food products company. Now this is Jethro T. Boots. It's aged at least 4 years because it's got no age statement. I don't know how long it's actually aged, but it's at least 4 years. It's a sour mash Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. So they use the sour mashing method like Old Crow does from the Beam Company, Suntory Holdings. Jethro T. Boots was introduced in 2014. It is sold by CVS pharmacies only. So you can only find this legally. Now you might see it sold in an illicit manner, but the only legal place to buy it is CVS pharmacy in their liquor, on their liquor aisle, which in Louisiana, they have liquor aisles. Okay. And some other states too. It is produced by a family-owned company, the Legacy Distilling Company. You might say, I never heard of it. Yeah, that's true. Neither has anybody else really, because it's the Sazerac Company. The Legacy Distilling Company is an alias of Sazerac. It's the name they use for all their CVS pharmacy products. Just like Gordon Beer produces a lot of beer for Trader Joe's, owned by Aldi. But it doesn't say Gordon Bierce Brewing. It says Joseph's Broy Brewing. Well, there is no Joseph's Broy Brewing. It's just you say, well, that's deception. It is deception because they're trying to deceive you. But it's allowed because the U.S. government permits the use of what they call assumed names. We would say an alias or a fake name, maybe even more accurate, as long as the name is registered with them, meaning the U.S. government, as an assumed name. So it'll say Sazerac, the Sazerac Company, and then it'll list assumed names. I think I saw that page, and they had all the names. It was like I got tired of looking at it. It was just one name. So it'll say the Sazerac Company, also traded as, I think they say, also used in commerce or represented as, well, however they say it, the Legacy Distilling Company, County Line Distillers, the Founders Company, Glenmore Distillery, Barton Distilling, and it goes on and on. Well, they're both golden, so I don't have to worry about the visuals throwing it off. Like, still getting over this cold, but I'm pretty much over it now. It's just a residual. Somebody at work was telling me, man, this guy over here, he's talking about another guy at work. Why he called in and said he had COVID just because he wanted a long Labor Day weekend. You know, why he just didn't say he wanted a long Labor Day weekend. And I was like, what are you talking about? He said, well, that's the way I saw it. He was just claiming he was ill so he could have those 4 days. I said, well, he told me he had to give up the activities he wanted to do for the weekend. He said, oh, okay. But then I was thinking about it. I said, all of us at work are still going around kind of hoarse or, you know, some kind of post-cold symptoms. And I was saying, he did seem to have a miraculous recovery. Like he was ill, but then he's back at work like nothing happened. I said, you got me thinking now, you know, like maybe what you said was legitimate because he didn't seem to be affected at all. You never know about these things, but it would get on my nerves if I found out that was true because you're making us work hard. You know, you're making us work on the double quick because you're not there. You better be sick. You know, I want you to be sick. You know what I'm saying? I want it to be a legitimate reason, not because you wanted to have a 4-day fishing trip weekend or something like that. That's bull. All right, now getting back to these products. I don't care if they use the alias name. You know, I'm talking about this other story. That like a deception, you see, which may or may not have happened. In this case, I don't care if they call themselves the Legacy Distilling Company or 75 South. No, 75 South is a brand name. Or I'm sorry, County Line Distillers. And trying to think of some of the other crazy names they come up with. But as long as the product tastes good, you see. Price point. Jim Beam, a regular bottle, it'll run about $13. 14, yeah. Above that, I would question it. Even with the JB inflation, because Jim Beam was always like $12, $13. So when you start, it's supposed to, like that's been their whole operation since they started. A great bourbon at an affordable price. 75 South. It was $8.99. $8.99. Full size bottle. Now I bought these 2 halves. I got another full unopened half. You know, that's $3.75. And they were $4.99 a bottle. $4.99 at Mathern's. And I asked their manager, I was like, how'd you get it so cheap? He said, oh, the distributor has some kind of special. In other words, a deal. You say, oh, they probably ordered too much and they didn't know what to do with it. And they went shop a deal around just to unload it. And that's probably what happened. But I benefited from it. So I bought 2 of these, 2 halves make a whole, and I paid $9.98. So $9.98 for a 750 milliliter amount versus $8.99. 99 cents more. They're both 4-year aged or more. They're both straight bourbon, and they both 80 proof. Except that the Jethro T Boots is sour mash, which probably won't make much difference anyhow. That's all I know. Now, Jethro T Boots making some big claims. Kentucky's finest. Now, imagine that. Kentucky's finest bourbon that's only sold at a drugstore chain. And they got it for $7.99 on, $8.99 on discount. Something tells me that it really isn't the Kentucky's finest bourbon. But see, that's one of these subjective statements that it's not, you can't go to court and say, I got damaged because I need damages because I bought it and it turns out it wasn't Kentucky's finest. But they're not even going to allow it to go to court. They're just going to throw it out as a frivolous lawsuit. But if it did, the judge would say, well, they think it's the finest. You can't even quantify that. It's like the word premium. Every beer they sell is premium. What does that mean? Well, it means it's just great product. It's premium. I've had some premium beers. I got some premium beer cans in that other room, and they were clearly not premium. But it sounds better than putting on the bottle atrocious or ghastly or stomach turning or nauseating. Those probably wouldn't really help sell it. It's like the word craft beer. When that guy tried the lawsuit, going to sue Blue Moon. Even if it was a fraud, it's no damages. Like he's going to say, I bought Blue Moon and I thought I was buying craft beer and I found out they were owned by Coors. So I'm suing. I need money. The judge was like, are you crazy? Because he said, first of all, the word craft beer is not a legal term. It doesn't mean anything. Every beer is crafted, maybe by machines, maybe by hand. It's like, it's just one of these meaningless terms. It's not like they said it was beer and it turned out it was milk or something like that, or it wasn't real beer. So same thing with that lawsuit against Tito's vodka, handcrafted vodka. Some guy was like, I found out it was made on an assembly line. It's not handcrafted. I'm going to court. The court's attitude was, well, it is handcrafted because people got to press the button with their hand to get the machine to turn on, and then they got to do this and that or whatever they got to do with it. So it's handcrafted in the sense that their hands work the computers. That's so. All right. Smells like sweet corn, like sugar water. Bourbon always smells and tastes like sugar water to me. Get some mild oak, some fermented grains, and what about heavy charred oak? Oh no, If you're looking for heavy charred oak, you need to look elsewhere. Jim Beam is not going to offer that. Everything about Jim Beam is light, mild, mellow, mass appeal. It's their flagship. It's their leading brand. They're not going to make it like limited appeal for those who love the super charred oak bourbon. Well, then it would lack mass appeal and it wouldn't be the #1 selling bourbon. They make their own specialties like that. Double oaked. And it'll have a little bit of following. Yeah, this smells the same, more or less. Crap Beartastic says, anytime consumers need to be notified with buzzwords regarding the quality of a product on the label, it seems suspect to me. Yeah, well, that would be like, from what I can tell, most of the time, everything is always touting how great it is. Any kind of laundry detergent, any kind of granola bar, any kind of beer or liquor. You read the packaging and it's like, oh, this is the greatest thing. But then you say to yourself, well, how can they all be the greatest thing? There's 20 different laundry detergents here. They're all the greatest. All right, so appearance, even. Aroma, I can still smell with this little, like I said, residual head cold, but that's, like I said, that's dying away really. And so that's 2 evens. Appearance even, aroma even. So right now we're even. Now, what is my record? 4 wins, 5 losses. No, 3 wins and 5 losses. 3 and 5. BC's beer reviews. OBC's beer reviews. I think regardless of if it's in a bottle or a can, he's going to review it. That's just the way I feel about it. Thanks for watching, BC. Good morning back to you. If I go to buy a DeWalt power tool, I'm already aware of the high quality by their reputation. Right. You see, it's not what you say, it's what you do. It's the performance. If you're telling me how great this beer is, and it ain't that great, I'm going to think what you're saying is not matching up with the reality. But then that's why we have the beer reviews. That's why we have the beer tastings. That's why we have the whiskey reviews and the whiskey taste and the taste challenges. And we have the beer groups on Facebook like Alcohol X, so we can talk about it. Not get all drama about it, like, oh, I don't like you because you drink Miller. You say, no, there's not really people like that in the world, right? No, they really do have people like that, and that's a sad pathology. But anyway, yeah, this is sweetness. Like I said, the aroma, the taste, sweetness, charred oak. Now, Jim Beam, to me, has a strange, it's subtle. It is not overt. It is covert. You know what I'm saying? A strange, or if you want to say oblique, it's not out front, it's oblique. Green wood. It's like the barrels were still green. You say, no, they're not still green. I know they're not. I say it's as if they were. We know they are not. And it's a strange black mold, like cellar mold. You say cellar mold, like you went in the cellar and it was damp and it had black mold. Yes. Now, you said those distilleries, the rick houses, the barrel houses, they will get black mold on them. I know that. I've seen it with my own 2 somewhat poorly functioning eyes. So that's why I wear this thing. All right. I don't know why I would have that in the flavor, but to me it was there. It could be a fantasy, and you could say it's all part of your alcohol fantasy. Well, you could say that it's all part of your alcohol dream. Well, maybe you're right. Okay. Yeah, would you like to? All right, wood. Are these 2 profoundly different? Profoundly different. I'll be lucky if I get it right. Is Jim Beam a good bourbon? I think it is. You watch some of these videos and it's like, I call these antics. It's like antics. They be talking about, oh, it's so bad. I'm like, what perspective are you trying to portray? It's not bad. I mean, you want to say it's ordinary or bland, go ahead. I'll even probably agree with that. But to make these videos where they're talking about how horrendous it is, oh, if this was the only bourbon they made, I wouldn't drink bourbon. I'm sure you wouldn't. That's what I call antics. Or they'll make a video like they're laughing already before the review starts. We're gonna make a review video of Jim Beam We're gonna lower ourselves, our awesome erudite, insightful review channel, down to Jim Beam just to do them a favor. And then they'll do the review, and I might write comments. I say, is this a review or is this a slam video? I call them slam videos. They're not really made to give an honest assessment. They're made to get some cheap laughs and really just to show how awesome the two. You say, oh, the two guys. Oh, I see where you're going. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we are so awesome. We can't be bothered with these little brands like Jim Beam. Yeah, like, what did Jim Beam ever do? They'll never make it. Yeah. Too bad. Like Budweiser, they'll never make it. They're just not making it. Now, you might be saying, well, that really bothers you, huh? It really upsets you when you see those videos. It doesn't bother me or upset me. Doesn't bother me, upset me, stress me out, or any other way perturb me. But it lets me know where these people are at. Lets me know where they're coming from. I can see the phoniness of their channel. Yes, I said it because it's true. Okay. I do seem to get way more corn cereal grain in Jim Beam than a lot of other bottom shelf brands like Ezra Brooks, etc. BC's Beer Review says, yeah, I know. It's like they're trying to make it seem as though they're way cooler than the product they're reviewing. Right. There you go. You said it all. What they don't realize, it has the reverse effect. The intelligent viewer says, another one of these channels. And then they can see right through it. Now, the more gullible viewers will say, wow, these guys are really deep. I want to join their, I want to join their account where I got to pay to watch the special stuff. Oh, yeah, you're getting a great deal. I got a special access. They're pretty much the same. What stands out about these? I don't know. You tell me, because I don't see anything standing out. It's just like regular old ordinary bourbon. It's like Ruth Gordon said, just ordinary old Lipton. It's just regular old Lipton's tea. So, which one would I buy in this case? I would obviously buy the Jethro tea boots because it's cheaper. And do you lose anything? No, you don't. You lose nothing. So this is a great win because now I know you might say, well, how is it a win? Because you haven't even called it yet, and you're saying that Boots wins. That's right. Why does Boots win? I can't really tell them apart, not at this point yet. And secondly, it tastes just as good as Jim Beam. I'm not saying it tastes better. No, I didn't say that. Tastes just as good as Jim Beam, and it's considerably cheaper. Not in my case, because I got a good price on both. But in an ordinary sense, in a real world sense, you're going to save $4 or $5 every time you buy it. Why would I pay $4 or $5 more for a label? You say, well, if your friends come over, they may not feel comfortable drinking Jethro Tea Boots. They would feel better drinking Jim Beam. Yes, but I'm sure they'll get over it. All right. Now the moment of truth. No comment. I think this is Jim Beam. I got it. And why did I get it? Because I said to myself, you heard me say, I think I'm getting. And the thought was, I didn't want to say it because what if I was wrong? But the thought was, I think I'm getting that cellar mold. And I did. Now I know. I agree with the criticism. If you criticize me and say, you dummy, you nincompoop, you silly boy, Jim Beam doesn't taste like cellar mold, I would agree with that. I would say, I know it doesn't. I agree. I'm with you. I'm down with you, soldier. It doesn't taste like cellar mold. Except that when I taste it, I taste cellar mold, you see? So that's my little signpost, And when we walk into the desert sands, we want to look for guideposts, guide stones. You were not my, and that was the tip off. So now I have 4 wins and 5 losses. You say, oh, that's not really that good of a record. Yes, I agree, but it's a tough game. This Jethro Tea Boots does a lot better than you would at first believe, because you pay $8.99, you think it's going to stand out in all of its badness. That's the shocking thing about it. Doesn't stand out at all. It just fits right in with the regulars. Now, tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow evening is Fandango Friday. Any liquor or liqueur. As is 6:30 Eastern. I'm very excited about it, but I'm always very excited about it. But also tomorrow in the morning, but maybe I'll do it today, so I don't have to worry about it, is going to be Jim Beam Repeal Batch, 86 proof. Oh, like the old Jim Beam, right? Jim Beam used to be 86 proof, yeah. Might have been 86.6. Jack Daniels used to be 90 proof. 90 proof, yes. But over the years, they slowly and without comment watered them down to 80. Now, we can take that any way we want, but that's the fact. That is the fact of the matter. I think I will be able to differentiate between Boots and Beam tomorrow, which would put me at 5 and 5. 5 wins, 5 losses. What are the last 2? I think the last 2 is going to cinch it up. George Dickel Cascade Hollow, 3-year age, 80 proof. And George Dickel Superior number 12, no age statement, which means 4 years or older. And what is that, 90 proof? Oh, that's going to be it. I'm not going to confuse those with Boots. So I think it's going to be 7 and 5 as it ends. I think. I don't know. 7 wins, 5 losses. I can live with that. I can live with it because it shows me that the Boots is just right there in the mix. It's not some weird tasting bourbon. It's just a regular old tasting bourbon, which means you should buy it because it's the cheapest one you can get, more or less. Yeah. Crappertastic said that's like the olive companies gradually shorting each jar of olives by 1 over the years. Oh, really? So what you're saying is they've slowly reduced the size over the decades, but they've done it in a surreptitious manner where people don't notice. There's only one little problem. It seems like people are noticing. Yeah, I know what goes on with these rascals, but I don't blame the companies. I blame the government mostly. Yes, I blame the government mostly. All right, thanks everybody for watching this video production. See y'all soon.